Okay.
Big
So,
signal.
welcome everybody. I'm so delighted that Philippe invited myself and my good friend Darlene to share our experiences with redox in animals. And so let me go ahead and share my screen and get the presentation started. Oops. Okay. So are you seeing the slide with the horses on there?
Yes, we are. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
very well.
Okay. So on September 30th, a couple years ago, my horse Aragon had some sort of an infection going on. He had a lump in his nose, which is hard to see on a black horse, where this first picture shows this is the lump here. And his breathing was heavier than normal. I started him on antibiotics, but after they ran out, it wasn't better. And he had a ripe green discharge that was very horrid. I took him to the vet, who took a large biopsy, and they sent it to the lab, and it didn't look good. But he still had his appetite and had an easygoing disposition. I reached out to Beth Wolford, who's in the Redox community, and asked her how much Redox supplement should I give him, praying it would make all the difference, because I really love this horse so much. I had my trainer administer 8 ounces of liquid Redox rectally, so 4 ounces in the morning and 4 ounces in the evening, beginning on October 9th, and also had him spray the liquid up his nasal passage. And he seemed to really like that. He also applied the Renew 28 topically 2 times a day. And by October 20th, you can see right here that the swelling was greatly reduced, though it was not, it wasn't completely gone. His breathing was less noisy and the drainage was clear instead of yellow, and had far less odor. As he went through that process, at one point, it was like he was blowing bubbles out of his, and coughing bubbles just out of his nose and out of his mouth as it transitioned. I had only discovered the redox 2 months previously, so I was really grateful for the progress and for the redox community, which made a huge difference in my personal experience to not feel so all alone. Let me get to the next slide here. So I was thrilled on October 22nd, just 2 days later, to get a message, an update on how my horse was doing. And let me show you the slide here, the record.
You ready? You ready? You're funny.
You like that, huh? And then, so that was the first time he'd had that sprayed up his nose, and he really did like it. And this was only 2 days later, or actually, this is the second video on October 22nd, and it was 12 days later.
I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try to get a video of me, Aragon letting me put this all the way up his nose and spray it right where it needs to go. Okay, so if you notice, here I go. I put it all the way in there. And I do at least 12 squirts. Then we do a little head up thing, so some of it will get back. Oops, I don't know.
So he did his best to get that through. But that was so exciting when he took the horse down to the vet. The vet couldn't believe, because it was in less than 30 days that he had this huge breakthrough. And it saved me a lot of money, because the vet had actually thought that I should take him into a different vet and have a $3,000 procedure done to remove the lump, but that wasn't necessary, thankfully. Whoops. Let me see if I can switch my slide.
I don't know if this is gonna work, but
Sorry about that. Hold on. There we go. So now this is a testimony from Beth Wolford, and she had this colt, and it came in one morning. It had this 4-inch long jagged wound, but it was too late to try and stitch it up because it was so tender to touch. The horse didn't want her to put the gel on it, so she just sprayed it with the liquid and had no other treatment. And she took pictures to show the difference after 24 hours, after 5 days, after 10 days, and after 16 days. Just spraying the liquid Redox made this difference for this colt. And here's another one that was shared, day 10 on ASEA, day 25. This is right behind by the horse's jawline. And after 2 months, it was all healed up. So just spraying that liquid makes such a difference. This is a testimonial by Yanni Feliciano. Dr. Walker did do an interview with her as well. But these are the pictures, and this is what I quote. She said, "I want to share an experience I had with my horse. He developed a bump on his cheek like a mole that started to grow rapidly. I called my vet and asked her if she could remove it. She said no, that it appeared to be an aggressive condition that would require him to go to the hospital and have it removed in a sterile environment, biopsy it, and make sure they got clear margin, do chemical beads, and they would most likely do laser surgery for the roots and tentacles that were characteristic of this mass. She would get back to me on when to schedule it. I asked her if she could inject the molecules into the mass, and she said absolutely not, as that could make it angry. Basically, she said, do not disturb it. I asked if I could put Renew 28 gel on it, and she said, okay. I started putting gel on it as much as possible whenever I was at the barn, and I asked my friend and owner of the barn to do the same. I had high hopes because I had heard of other people's masses drying up and falling off. After a couple months, the mass appeared to be drying out, and when I showed up one day, it was hanging half off. I think my horse scratched it. I called the vet immediately because I remembered her saying you can't disturb it, and she wanted to biopsy it. So she came out the next morning before it fell off completely. She clipped it off and would biopsy it. I continued putting gel on. It took several weeks to get biopsy results, and it confirmed he had what she thought, and she called me 6 weeks from the date she came out later to schedule the surgery. So I asked her if he still had to have the surgery, if the mass was gone and all the hair had grown back and healed completely. And she said it couldn't have healed completely, and asked for me to send her a picture, which I did. She came out again because she couldn't believe it. She brought another vet with her, and they looked at it, took pictures, and said he didn't need the surgery to keep doing what I was doing. She was shocked and couldn't believe it. She said it would not have looked this good with her treatment. The horse's hair grows back white over scar tissue, if it even grows back at all. I saved $10K and not having to do their recommended treatment. So grateful for these molecules. So that's a huge testimonial there. And I had one more, but I don't know what I did with the picture. So no, I didn't. I just want to introduce you now to my good friend, Darlene Dozier, and have her share some of her experiences with Redox in animals. Darlene is a registered nurse and has her bachelor's of science in exercise physiology. And she started her career in healthcare and moved to the fitness and wellness field over 30 years ago as a fitness instructor and coach. She owns and operates a farm and ranch with her husband where they raise beef, horses, and an array of pets that include dogs, chickens, and cats. Darlene competed in the AQHA showing over 20 years and then competed in barrel racing at the pro level. So take it over, Darlene.
Thank you very much, Gloria. I'm going to have you go to the next slide, please, and we'll open up with, well, there's another picture of our group on our farm. As you can see, we have an array. So this first story I'm going to tell you is about Leia. She was approximately 18 years old and had contracted a severe respiratory situation that required veterinarian care. They gave her as many treatments as they could and finally said, you know, we just can't do anything for her. She was very distressed at the time. And so I took her home and treated her myself, was able to save her life and had to hand feed her for a couple weeks. And that's what the picture you're seeing now. After we got her, saved her, she was left with some residual something up in her nasal cavity. You could literally hear this kitty breathing across the room. It was so distressed. So I called Gloria and I said, hey, I've got this situation. And she had sent me over the information on the molecules, and I jumped in wholeheartedly, got her started. And if you want to go to the next slide, Gloria.
Okay. You want me to play the video?
This is Leia today, and I gave her molecules by mouth 0.5 mils, and I also rubbed the Renew 28 on her entire face. 2 weeks later, she discharged copious amounts of a very thick, hard substance that was up in her nasal area, which therefore allowed her to once again breathe. And she's about, I want to say Leia's about 21 now, and doing very well. And I still just rub the Redox 28 on her face. I don't give her any more by mouth, but I do. I've got the ASEA in a mist, and so I mist her every day too, and that seems to be helpful for her, and she's doing very well. Okay, my next, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You can hear her purring.
Yeah, that's Leia. She's a sweetheart.
There we go.
And my next story is about he's Tebow. He's a Malamute Husky, and as he progressed in his age, I think when he started having hip dysplasia and problems with his back, he was around 12, and so I thought, okay, here we go again. I didn't take him to the vet. I said, here we go with the molecules again. And so I did. I gave Tebow his ASEA Redox by mouth, and I gave him about 2 cc's a day. So I did it morning and night, and that's all I did. And then I would also spray the mist along his spine 2 to 3 times a day as well. So I'm going to let Gloria share the video of his progression. You'll see those are in week intervals, each stage that we went through, week 1 to week 4. Perfect. So Tebow got another, Tebow got another 2 years out of life before finally it was time for him to not be with us anymore, but it made a huge difference in him, and I didn't again have those vet bills. Although I really don't think there was much they could do for him, but ASEA did a lot for him. This next one is a horse, and he was quite old. He passed away at 34. He had developed these sarcoids underneath his stomach flank area. And on the left, you'll see the picture before I started spraying them, and I just sprayed the liquid on them, and then they started turning white and then eventually fell off. So those were very helpful with the sarcoids. Next slide. This was a really interesting case. This again was in one of my older geldings, and this just happened last winter, and it's called fecal water syndrome, whereas they have normal bowel movements, but within that it's it's each time it's full of liquid. And what happens with that is it gets all over their backside, their hocks, and it's very burning on their skin. It's not uncomfortable to them per se, but it's a little distressing on my end. So I actually started giving him rectally 4 to 8 ounces of ASEA a day, and that took 2 months, and there was a progression. I saw he progressively started getting better probably 3 weeks in, and then was completely cleared up by 2 months, and cleared it up completely. I did look into some alternative treatments because I was like, this is just a really bad case, very expensive treatments. And so I was like, here we go again with the molecules, and great results. Next slide is, oh, that's just a little information on the fecal water syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
And there, I'd use the big syringe and the bottle of ASEA. Oh, this is from Beth Woodford again. And these were warts that this horse had developed all over its muzzle. And I believe I think it was a week, wasn't it, Gloria, on this one? And she sprayed it two to 3 times a day. And if you go to the next, if you look on the right, you can see the progression, and it cleared them up completely, much like the previous slides that Gloria showed of Beth's wounds that she healed.
It was about 2 weeks to clear up.
Yeah, amazing, absolutely amazing. Okay, so I get a lot of abscesses on my ranch, and we go to the vet, or I've been soaking them before, and then I'd wrap them like you see in this picture. And so this last year I was like, as the abscesses started coming out, it seems to be a seasonal change with some of the horses. I just took my mist spray bottle, and I started spraying the whole leg and the hoof, and never did anything else. And these horses went from not being able to hardly walk to, in 2 days, they're back on it and cleared up in a week. And all I did was just spray it on the whole leg and the foot. That was it. Such a cost saver. I mean, that was huge. I had like 3 or 4 horses with abscesses this year. Love that stuff. Okay. Is there another slide, Gloria? Oh, this is just my husband. He suffered severe burns in a fire accident, and I just wanted to show you. I think that was that wasn't right after, but pretty close after. If you go to the next slide, Gloria. I think this was we did ASEA and Renew 2 weeks later, ASEA and Renew 28, and look at that. It's amazing.
So that's our presentation, and we just love to be able to take any questions that people might have.
First of all, let me congratulate you for the quality of your presentation. It is really magnificent, and it shows that yes, we belong to the animal range. We are the top of it, no doubt. But everything we say about human, like anti-aging, recovery of all kinds. You illustrated it very well. Thank you, Darlene, for sharing your personal pictures as well. It touches us very much.